everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Bry and Samua Show.
Woo! We are so glad to be back. We are so excited to see you again. Thank you for coming back and joining us.
I'm Samua,
I'm Bry.
and we're here for another great episode with you guys. And today we decided we would talk about one of the things that if you catch our very first episode that we put out there, it talks about our love hate relationship for running. Which we didn't really talk about that in detail. We
Right.
will, but definitely how that's one of the ways that we have connected and grown our friendship. Actually, I just sent you this thing on Instagram that said you can invite any friend to go get a drink with you, but only real friends will invite you to torture.
And do a race.
And I feel like I just said torture like I'm from New York, maybe Boston.
Well, you're
Was that
close.
my Boston accent
Yeah,
coming out?
Boston's coming
Torture.
out, girl. You're Boston.
Anyways, yeah, so only real friends will invite you to torture, which we seem to do that a lot for each other.
We do. We've signed up, and we'll get into all the Disney races in another episode, but we have definitely done a
We've
lot of
definitely
those.
lost count.
And then we've done local ones. We've done Columbus. We've done what else?
Nashville, the one that
Nashville. Oh my
the
gosh.
most that really was torture too.
It
How
was,
do you have a race in Nashville?
yeah.
Bleam it up as the USA women's national races and whatnot. And then you're in Nashville and you don't have one musician
No.
across 13 miles.
So you're running, and you're hoping all races have entertainment. No, not in
Nothing.
Nashville. It was so weird. And the other thing was, of course, we like to dress up. So we're dressed up as Barbie and we walk
Wait.
outside.
We're dressed up as bright as all get out,
Yeah.
roller skate Barbie
Mhm.
with the spandex,
Yeah.
just like her outfit from the movie. So it's
Yep.
not just a cute little Barbie outfit. No.
No, we walk outside and guess what? No one else has a costume on but just us.
Yeah.
So we figured we
That's all
didn't
right because we
care.
bring the fun where we go.
That's right. That's right. So back to costumes, you definitely can wear costumes to any race and just be you.
Yeah. And going into Dopey, do you remember when we did the half in January in California? And that feels like it was 5 years ago, but it was just last year.
Yeah, it wasn't
And
that long ago.
Um, well, I guess it was 2024, so I guess it was 2 years ago. But anyways, I remember being at the hotel and you were like, "Can we just next time just do a girls trip?
Not
Stop with the
run.
races." And that was the weekend. So you said that line right when we
Oh
got
my
there because
god.
we're both dreading the fact that we're here to run, right? We're in this fabulous hotel,
Right.
we're in California, and we're like, "Oh crap." But then we have to
We
run.
have to get up in the morning and race.
I think it was our first night there, maybe the first morning, and you're saying, "Can we just next time just do a girls trip?" And
Yeah.
then that was the weekend that signing up for the wait list or maybe finding out if we made it was if we were
We'll find
finding out
out.
we had added ourselves to, like, the lottery for the
Nashville.
amazing non-musical Nashville half marathon,
No music.
and there was whether or not you made it was gonna come out that weekend, and so our last morning there, we get the emails, and we're both so excited because we both made it, and then I look at you and I'm like, "Well, we already failed
We had
because
to
our next road trip or our next trip
be
is going to be a race."
a race with Nashville. I'm trying to think of, have we done anything where we've gone except Keith Urban?
Yes, when we had Flat Bry.
Oh my
In
gosh,
Nashville, but
that's
but
right.
that Nashville trip had a lot of music. We went to the concert,
That was fun.
and it was amazing. It was Florida Georgia Line, Luke Bryan, Thomas Rhett, this
Mm,
amazing lineup. But then Bry was working for this amazing company, and even though she had requested the time off and all this months in
mhm.
advance, she got called in and had to leave early.
Yep.
So me and our other friend, Michelle Baker, that she's just as zany as us for sure, we had this bright idea. We dropped Fry off at the airport, and I don't know if you guys know the Flat Stanley books. Isaac was getting into them at the time. I had heard about them from another friend. I thought it was cute, and somehow Baker knew about them too. And so we literally left the airport and went to Walgreens and
Oh my
printed
gosh.
out an eight
It
by
was so
10.
crazy.
We printed out an 8 by 10 of Bry's, a portrait from one of our pictures during the trip. And then we proceeded on purpose for the next 2 hours
Oh
to
my
go all
god.
around Nashville taking pictures with Flat Bry and then purposely immediately posting them to Facebook and tagging her in all of them because we're like, "Thought she lands.
It
Her
was
phone is gonna blow up."
hilarious. It was so funny, and it made me feel so good because and again, that's the friendship piece of it, that even though I had to leave, they still wanted me to feel part of that last piece of it that I was gonna miss, and that meant a lot. I mean, it was crazy, but it meant so much.
Flat Bry had so much fun. You were trying on dresses, eating
See, I
popsicles.
know, I would have worn anything.
She was having a good time. But that brings us back to running and Dopey. So last year we always sign up for these races. We always think we're gonna have fun with them, and then we
Mhm.
always are dreading the day of race. But
Yes,
then we're always happy that we did it and then
exactly,
sign up for more. So
exactly.
we were gearing up to do Columbus last year in about 2 weeks out or
It
so.
was like 2 weeks out. I got hurt, I was unable to do Columbus, which it happens, right? And that's the other thing that we tell you with running. Listen to your body. It's not the end of the world if you can't do a race. So, I dropped out and I went down and I supported them
You did.
and I will tell you, it is harder to be a spectator than it is to be a runner.
Trying to
'Cause
move around and catch us at the different
I
spots.
I didn't see any of them and I thought I was perfect running around. No, and I had one of those things that you ride. What's it called?
The scooters, that
Oh
was
my
fun. We
gosh.
went
I
around Columbus in the scooters.
I
We had a
had
good
that. I
time.
was running around trying to find them, but it is harder to be a spectator. I've actually learned that. I will never do that again.
But I remember you had a few like, you had some health thing come up
Yep.
because it wasn't just that you couldn't do Columbus because of the injury. The
Yes.
injury was part of it, but it was for the foreseeable future, I'm not doing any races. And
Correct.
it was just like, "Okay." And then maybe 6 weeks, no more than 2 months goes
Yep.
by, and I am, randomly living life one day, and I get this text from Bry, and I look at it, and it's like, "Hey, hear me out." And I open up my text, it's this long.
Oh, yeah, of
It
course.
says, "Listen, hear me out. I know this is gonna sound crazy, blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah." And then you, like, had this much of the paragraph was just an introduction, and then you're like, "I think we should do Dopey." And I remember in my head laughing, and I was by myself, and then I thought she couldn't even run races right now. And then my next thought was, "Yeah, we should do Dopey." Even
Well,
though I've been telling my husband, I'm like, for the past 5, 6 years, I've been telling my I don't know that I'll ever do another full.
right.
I don't think so. I have no desire to run another full. And then yet you sent me that text, and within 78 seconds, I went
But
from like, "What is she talking about? I didn't think she could run." And no to, "Okay."
well, that's what happens again, friends, because it was far off. Well, it's getting closer now, but what is dopey anyway? We haven't really told them what dopey is.
So, for the non-Run Disney fanatics out
Mhm.
there, the reason it's called Dopey is because you have to be dopey to volunteer, not only
And
volunteer,
pay
to pay a crap ton of money
to
to
do
do
it
this.
yourself.
It's the Disney races, the longest standing Disney races are the ones in January, and it's the only race weekend that has a full marathon. So they at one point they created the Goofy Challenge, which was you ran the half on Saturday, then the full on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then unofficially, because I remember we just had this whole conversation off camera here for about 20 minutes to figure out when we did Dopey for the first time and what was happening. They did this unofficial thing where if you ran the 5K and then you did the Goofy challenge, because at the time they weren't connected as one challenge to do all of them. It was just the Goofy challenge. And then if you wanted to, you ran the 5K. And I remember the weekend that I did it in 2013, there was all this buzz of just the runners,
Right.
nothing official from Run Disney, but all these runners through the years had started to do the 5K and the Goofy challenge. So then they started to call it like, "Oh, we're dopey." Like, "We're
Right.
dopey." It became this
Right.
unofficial thing, but clearly Run Disney has us either mic'd or ears to the ground really good. I mean, nothing
They
gets
got
by
ears.
Disney, right? Right? They do have their ears. So they figured that out. So then the next year, after the 2013 race, they announced adding 10Ks to most of the race weekends. And then they created the Dopey Challenge. So the Dopey Challenge is when we do what?
So, the dopey challenge on Thursday, you run the 5K. Friday, you run the 10K. Saturday, you run the half, and Sunday, you run a full.
Or you walk it,
Walk
drag
it,
your
yeah,
butt,
and that's
something.
that's the other thing, like, when you're doing something that big, and we'll talk about this in future episodes, how do you even prepare for something like that? Because here's the other caveat,
A good
Disney
margarita.
races start at 4:30 in the morning,
That is the hardest part.
and
Not
you've
only did
got
they start,
yeah,
like, you have to get there, like, you have to be up at 2:30 'Cause if you
at
leave
least.
yeah, because even when you stay on property, and we have done both, even the buses, if you wait too long, even the traffic for the property buses ends up being
Well, and
pretty
they've upped it by a half hour. It used to start at 5, and now they've starting everything at 4:30.
I don't think I knew that, so you just ruined
So we have to get
my
up at
dopey
2.
experience.
Yeah, we've gotta get up at 2 now for these that's the worst part because 4 days in a row
Yeah.
of little sleep, you're trying to watch what you're eating, and then you've gotta get up so early and you do the races. It's a lot of work, but it's worth the effort. You get 6 medals,
The
and
6 medals make it all worth it.
yeah, because you get a race for each of you get a medal for each of the races, and then you get your goofy challenge medal, and then you get your dopey
And you get
challenge.
6 shirts.
You get 6
So you get 6 new workout shirts if you're
exactly.
willing to run 48.6 miles spread across 4 days.
Yeah.
Doesn't it sound so much fun?
I mean, come on. Anybody that wants to do it, get a hold of us. We will help you because it is definitely something that you should try at least once.
The hardest part of
Mhm.
doing Dopey and or most Disney races nowadays, except for the 10-miler challenge in April for
Oh,
some
I know
reason,
what you're gonna say.
is the signing up for
Oh
it.
my gosh, the stress of signing up.
Like,
So
Taylor Swift concert tickets has nothing
on Run
on Run
Disney.
Disney
No,
race signups.
no.
And that changed because, like, when we did it in 2011, because even now, even charities within a few weeks of, races opening up, most charity bibs are gone. We talked about in the one episode, we were able to sign up early September,
Yeah,
through a
there
charity
was still stuff.
still. And even the first couple races, there was not we definitely would I remember us knowing when the race would open up, but there was not this anxiety
Yeah.
of crap. We got to take the day off. We got to do so signing up. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's quite the process. So the race opens at 10 AM. You need to have at least 3 or 4 computers ready to go at any given time because you wanna make sure that you've got everything all set. Because if one doesn't go through, another one will. And then when it opens, you just sit and wait until they give you your time. And you have a little bar across the bottom that
And
doesn't move, and you're just watching
it
it.
is random
Yeah.
because I will have,
Yeah.
I remember this for Dopey because we want to make sure we were trying to get 5 of us in.
Yep.
So that was even more stressful doing more than one person because it even if you get in, the race can sell out while you're in the middle of signing up,
You
and
gotta pay
then
for it. It
and then it
says that.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
really frustrating. Something to consider, Run Disney. You should guys should do what Ticketmaster does and be like, "Hey, here you go. Here's your spot. We're securing it for 10 minutes," because that was
Take care of
Ticketmaster does, right?
business.
You get 10 minutes
Mhm.
to cash out with whatever concert tickets you just
Yeah.
snagged. So I feel like Run Disney should do that. We let you in. There's a spot. That's gonna be your spot. You have 10 minutes. Because nowadays you can't pick your t-shirt size right.
No.
You can't do anything because
You're
you want to
just
rush
buzzing.
through.
You're
Yeah.
buzzing through. Now you can go back and you can edit your registration. So don't waste your time on picking a shirt, all that kind of stuff. Don't buy extra merch. You can go back and get that later, even if you did proof of time.
Do
Proof
that
of
after.
yeah, proof of time, they'll ask you how you plan to finish the race, how long it's gonna take. If you know you've got a race that you know could get you into a corral, and I'm gonna have you cover the corrals, and the balloon ladies, and then you can go back and do that later. So, a lot of people don't know that, and so they waste time on it, and maybe they end up getting booted out because they don't meet the time requirement to sign in.
Yeah, for Dopey, I remember I had 2 iPads, my phone, and then 2 laptops all
Yeah,
logged in, and only one of my account got in. And by the time one of mine got in, I think the Dopey challenge and something else was already sold out.
yep,
I had family in Brazil because I thought maybe the IP address
right,
different,
right.
although Brazilians I should have thought that that was gonna fail because Brazilians love everything Disney, and if you go back through the history of the full marathon, I think the most often winner has been a Brazilian.
Yeah,
So, at least from the guy side. So anyway, so after all that chaos, we got in. And it's super fun because we signed up our 4-year-old slash 5-year-old and Naomi to do the 5K. Naomi's
it's
done a
gonna be
5K
so
with us
much fun.
before,
Yeah.
and that was super fun. She did wine and dine with us in 2023.
Yeah, we did the 5K, and she was a trooper. She did
She
so
was.
good.
And Naomi picked our costumes. We're gonna be Dalmatians.
Mhm.
So the most important part
Oh, yeah.
of a Disney race, it's not your training, not registering, although that is obviously most important because you wanna get in.
Sure.
It's not what shoes you're gonna wear, it's not the fueling, it's the costume
Absolutely.
because that
Yeah.
really makes the race.
Your costume game has to be strong because if not, you're gonna feel very inferior.
And through the years now, a lot of Etsy shops have popped up
Yes.
that make fabulous
Yep.
costumes that are mostly runner friendly. Right now, I still haven't decided my costume for the full. So we're going to be Dalmatians for the 5K. And then we're going to do Little Mermaid theme, all of us matching different characters from the Little Mermaid for the 10K.
Yep.
And then for the half, Leo and I, this is a special reveal. Bri doesn't even know this.
Wait, what?
We just decided we're gonna do Jasmine and Aladdin
Oh, that's
because that
cute.
is one of Leo's favorite
Uh,
Disney movies. And then we haven't decided yet for the full.
well, I'm going to be Dopey for the fall.
Ooh, I like that.
Yep, I got my Dopey costume coming, and so I am going to be Dopey. I figured it was appropriate,
Definitely appropriate.
and, why not?
So the thing that I would definitely recommend through the years when I've been looking for costumes prior to these Etsy shops showing up, but to be honest, for a lot of the Etsy shops, you need to have a good piggy bank going for a while.
Yeah.
They're fantastic and so detailed and very runner friendly, but most of them are pretty pricey. But what I used to do, the hack that I found for a lot of them was I used to do the princesses and I would type up like sexy Cinderella costume. Because as you know, a lot of these princesses, they have big gowns, you can't run in them. But if you find the sexy costumes, then the skirts are short,
Yeah,
no sleeves. You can
it'll be
easily
runner
wear,
friendly.
yeah, you can
Yep,
wear running shorts, not very breathable. So keep that in mind.
that's very true.
But at least it can somewhat finagle that. But for the full, I definitely would say, and for a lot of people, if it's your first half, even, I would say do more of like now what you can find where it's like a runner specific shirt, but the print looks like a
Yeah,
character. Like you got that
I'll
super
do
cute
Belle.
outfit. Yeah, you got that
I'll
super
do
cute
Belle for
Belle
the half
outfit.
probably for this one. I'll do Belle for the half, and then that way it'll be easy and breezy.
Yeah.
It'll be
Because it
good.
is a running specific outfit. You
Yeah.
found that at one of the expos at the
And,
races.
if Dopey ends up being I haven't gotten it yet, but when I try it on, I'm gonna run in it and see if it ends up being a little bit more cumbersome than what I thought, I might switch out and I'll do Belle for the full and do Dopey for the half.
Wait, you're gonna run in your Dopey costume before the Dopey race?
Well, I'm gonna try it on. Yeah, I wanna
You're not gonna do my technique of
so, yeah. Yeah, what she does is she orders the costume, she throws it in her suitcase. The morning of, she takes it out of the bag and puts it on for the first time. Not that that's a bad idea, but,
it has worked out well for me so far.
it
Every once
has.
in a while, I might have needed an extra safety pin or
Yeah.
something, but it has mostly worked out.
It has, it has. We've been everything. I mean, the costumes have been so fun.
Yeah.
I love the bellhop costumes, probably the best.
Yes. We were Tower of Terror bellhops with
They
the
were
hat and
so
everything.
was so cute.
That was
So,
fun.
I mean, you just have to figure out, like, what works for you, and you can be anything. The Disney races are themed, so you can go with a theme.
Your
And that'll
favorite
will be
character,
it doesn't matter.
it's
Anything
whatever you
goes.
want.
That's the beautiful part about it.
Whatever your heart desires. You can
Yeah,
be villains. Villains have become really popular.
they have. They have.
So,
So the key is just you gotta have a good costume.
yep.
That's all I'm saying.
And then next we'll talk training. How's that going?
So, yeah, so I do the method of, run, walk. And so my timing is 2 minutes running, 1 minute walking. And for me, what that does is it allows me to get a little bit of a rest. But I found that my time is actually even better because when I tried to run the whole thing, I would run out of steam and I would feel horrible,
Yeah.
right? So for me, that works. And I do have 17 miles up this weekend.
Ooh.
So I've got to get that in somehow or another, right? And they do have training for Dopey where you do back to back races or, for your own weekend. So I think I've got 5 to 7 miles on Saturday and then the 17 on Sunday.
Wow. Meanwhile, I ran a 5K for the first time today in 5 weeks.
But she also did a marathon not that
That was
long
back in
ago.
July.
It doesn't matter, you still did it.
Yeah,
When you said you weren't gonna do another marathon, now you're gonna do 2 within a year.
a year. That's what you did. It's all your fault.
Yeah,
You and my brother.
I know, right?
Now the method, the run walk, I think it was either started or made popular by Jeff Galloway.
Yeah, Jeff Galloway, whenever
Mm.
you sign up for a race, you'll see a lot of Jeff Galloway on their
Run Disney
advertisements
with Run Disney
Run Disney,
specifically.
yep. And, he's great because he
He was an
provides
Olympian.
I know, and
He
he's
was a
amazing.
marathon Olympian, and I think he runs. Leo knew him obviously, because Leo knows all the running world stuff. But I think he has a running shoe store in the Atlanta area, if I'm not mistaken, or
I can
somewhere
believe
in
that.
Georgia.
But, what's interesting is he had some health issues. I think his heart maybe, where he struggled a bit, but he's back at it again, but he listened to his body, and he stopped running until he could get that under control, right? So even elite runners have to do the same thing that we would have to do.
So are you
And
following his specific plan?
yes,
Yeah.
it is a 28-week plan. I started this like I'm in week 17 or something.
I'm so proud of you.
So I've
I
been
think this is the first time that we'll say, "This one I'm really gonna train for," and then you're actually
training.
doing it, girl.
Yeah. So it's 3 days a week. You do a couple of times during the week, and then now that it's getting a little closer and over the next few months, there'll be 4 runs because 'cause you'll have 2 on the weekend. But I would tell you that if you really listen to a training plan and follow it, your race is gonna be amazing. If you show up without being trained, which I have done before, it's horrible because you don't have the endurance, you're not ready, you're not trained, and a lot of people fall into that trap with Disney races because
Just
they
make
think
sure
it's
you still have a
Disney.
cute costume, because then at least you'll be feeling horrible but
Yeah.
looking cute.
Talk about the balloon ladies.
So, at Disney, these poor ladies,
They get a bad rap.
I haven't met them,
I met them not on the race course, but before a
and I have
race.
heard that
Mhm.
they're not tied to Run Disney at all, so these poor women have to get in with the same stress that we have to go through.
They don't get it, yeah, they don't even get balloons.
Yeah, they have
They
to
have to
get it
buy their
themselves.
own.
So there's these group of ladies because the Disney races have a 16-minute cutoff, which quite to be honest, most races do. But
Yeah,
I think Disney is amazing because it does bring in a lot of interest from people that are not your typical runners or
right.
have not grown up running or around running. And the Disney magic of it pulls them
Yeah,
in instead, or the amazing medals and t-shirts. And so you do get a lot of novice runners
yeah,
and a lot of people that otherwise may not have taken any interest in running, which is awesome because I love to hear the stories when we're at Disney
absolutely.
of people that way later in life, picked it up all because they first had a love for Disney.
Yeah,
So it's awesome in that sense. But I think, like Brian mentioned, you hinted at, some people I think too much of the Disney magic part of it and
and they
think
forget the
that
training.
pixie dust and happy thoughts are gonna get them
Yeah,
to the finish line, and it doesn't. So, the balloon ladies are there. They're not the cutoff, but they do wait to take off the very last corral because
yep,
the timer for the 16 minutes is when the last person crosses the start line. So
that's
it's
them.
yeah, so it's the last person, the last corral, and the balloon ladies they're the ones doing that. And so if people are always talking on any Run Disney
Oh my
social media
gosh.
forum, these poor balloon ladies are dreaded. But what I've
Yeah.
heard from people who have done races with them, have you ever done any races where you ended up with them?
I never ended up with them.
Okay.
The very first race that I did in 2004, I didn't know about them. But our race coach from Team and Training caught my friend and I probably at mile 19, and she just started, like, running with us, and she said, "Let's jog a little," and she, like, encouraged us to go a little faster, and she got us into Epcot, and she goes, "Alright, I can leave you now, you're in Epcot, you're safe," and we're like, "What do you mean safe?" And she goes, "The balloon ladies weren't close, but they were getting a little bit close for my liking," and she said, "So I needed to make sure because if they pass you, you're not out of the race yet, but you're falling behind."
Yeah, they
And
just signal they're just being kind
yeah,
to be a very bold visual to let you know, like, like now you're
you could be in
behind.
trouble. Yeah,
Yeah,
because they do have buses that will come across the course at some point, and anybody that hasn't crossed that point yet will get pulled from the
yeah.
race. It's so
I've heard
disheartening.
rumors now that even once you're in Epcot now,
You're not safe
you're not
anymore.
safe anymore, which that's
Yeah,
kind of crappy. Come on, Disney.
I know. I don't know if this is true or not, but I'd heard that where the singers are right at the end where you're
Yeah,
turning,
I
that they
heard
pulled
that.
them there.
Maybe
I
you're
don't
the one who
know.
told me that.
I don't know if it's true or
That
not, but
seems ridiculous because 'cause you're 400 meters from the
I know
finish.
they couldn't pull you then, right? They'd have to
Yeah,
catch me at that point.
seriously.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah, so the balloon ladies.
they're amazing and they're very nice ladies, but they really are doing this on their own and they're really trying to help people. No, but I mean, think about a 16-minute mile pace. It sounds pretty easy when even if you're just walking it, right? But when you get to mile 10, 15, 18,
It catches up for
it
sure.
catches up for sure, right? So you've just got to make sure that you do the training. And I think that's the most important
Yeah.
thing.
The other thing that makes Disney races awesome is that you do run through the parks.
Yeah.
So depending on the distance, if you're doing the 5K, you're usually just going right around Epcot. I think in the past, they've had different race weekends where maybe you went around a little bit different of a park, but now it
Yeah.
seems like all of them are starting and ending at Epcot.
Yep.
And then the 10K, um, do we hit 2 parks with the 10?
I think the 10K starts in Epcot, goes around, maybe goes outside a little bit, and then comes
Yeah,
back in again. I don't think it goes
yeah.
too far. I don't think we hit 2 parks, but we do go outside on the road a little bit.
And then the half, you definitely hit at least 2 parks. Again, depending which race you're doing, it could be Epcot and Animal Kingdom, Epcot and, I wanna say Tower of Terror, Hollywood Studios,
Yeah.
or, Magic Kingdom. And then for the full, you do hit all 4 parks and ESPN World of Sports.
Can you imagine when you look at a map of Disney, that's your 26.2 miles, right? And it and you're on the road a lot, and so the beautiful thing about Disney is they've got entertainment, they've got character stops. Let's talk about character stops for just a minute,
Yeah.
because character stops will bite you. It's lovely to get pictures with the characters, but you need to pick and choose because if you wait in line, because what's gonna happen is you're doing your race, there's a line to get that picture with Peter Pan.
We waited in line, do you remember this with Naomi for the 5K?
Oh my gosh.
40 minutes to
Yeah.
get a picture with the Queen of Hearts
Yep.
from Alice in Wonderland.
I
But
mean,
Naomi really wanted that picture, so that's what we were
that's
doing.
what we did, right? But then we had to hustle because even though there was no time limit for the 5K, you still had to hustle because they were still gonna
Well, they
push you.
pull the other characters
Yeah,
and they're kind of like,
move it
"Let's
along.
go, people."
Yeah,
We weren't the end though, so that was good. But, the awesome thing, thanks to Walt's vision of buying up all that land, is that all of the marathon, all 26 miles, like you mentioned, is on Disney property. So they
yep,
do a great job with having choirs and cheer squads,
so many
DJs,
things.
marching bands, and the
And the
characters,
characters.
and then some people too, spectators. So you
Yeah.
do get lots of energy. You do also get to see the backside of Disney.
Oh, especially Animal Kingdom, it's so wonderful.
Well,
Ugh.
it's also because that's where their septic
Yeah.
stuff is,
You're
where
like,
the
"Oh my
yeah,
gosh, hold my
their
breath."
water treatments. I bet you, I know this happens for me every time I've run there, and I bet you this probably happens for 90% of runners. That mile always has a little bit of a speed pickup to it
Yeah, it
because 'cause
does.
you're just like,
Wanna get through
"Oh
it.
my gosh, what is this stench?
Yeah,
Get me
yeah.
out of here."
Now the difference between Disney World and Disneyland, because there are races at Disneyland as well, but because it's so small, if you do a half there, you're definitely gonna be going outside of the park.
Yeah, and that's not as fun. I think
Yeah,
once we left the parks, there was no characters because
yeah,
I
no.
remember I went into that race not only not at all trained, which I do tend to do that
Out in
very badly
California.
for a lot,
Yeah,
but that race, I because even though I don't necessarily always train running specific, even though I do try to get certain runs and things like that in, I usually am at least working out. I used to
right.
teach Zumba, so I have some sense of fitness. But going into that one in January, I had surgery in November and never really was able to get into a training regimen. Mostly because I was nervous. My doctor had given me the green light, but I was still nervous.
Right.
So that race sucked. And I kind of went into it thinking, well, I'll have the character stops to give
Oh
me
my gosh, there were
breathers.
none.
And then there was none once we left the parks. I wanted to
And
die.
you go out to the you used to go out to the baseball field, and that was cool
Yeah.
because you'd run
It was such a
around
big
it,
crowd
but
there.
now all they do is they take you through the parking lot. So, not that it's like the 5K at Disneyland is so
And
fun.
10K.
Those are perfect, but the half,
And if you're trying to get a coast to coast, which a coast to coast is when you do in the same calendar year, you do at least a half at Disney World and then a half at Disneyland.
yep,
You could do the full at Disney World if you wanted. So if you're trying to do a coast to coast, totally worth doing a
it
half
is.
at Disneyland. If you're trying to do one of their challenges, at
Yep,
least one time to do a challenge there. But otherwise, we left that and we're like, yeah, next time we're settling with 10Ks out here.
absolutely, absolutely, but both parks have it, and so, you could enjoy both. If you're not from this area and you're out in California, you have options too. You don't have to go to Florida.
Yeah. So, want to reiterate, I hate running. I generally hate running.
Same.
My husband has a podcast. Nice little plug here for him.
Yep.
Mind Body Marathon. Check it out. It's been going on for about a year and a half. And one of the earlier episodes, I think one of the first few that he released, is me on there with him talking about how I hate running. And but one of the things that I would say, and we'll get into this in another episode, because we kind of wanted this to be more about Dopey and Run
Yep.
Disney introduce you guys to it since it is something we're going to be referencing a lot because we're already signed up for another
We're in
race at
training.
Disney in April.
Yeah, we did sign up for another one in April. Just yeah.
So if you're listening to our podcast, you are going to hear us talk about
Yeah,
running
a
Disney
little bit.
pretty often. So we wanted to kind of and a lot of people are doing this. The marathon weekend pulls
Right.
in like 60,000 runners. But it is a great race that
It
if you
is.
hate running, but you like Disney or you like having an excuse to go to
Yeah.
warm weather or just bring out that kid in you and wear a funny costume, it is a great race.
Yeah.
It is a great way for you to get yourself to do something out of your comfort zone
I would agree. Would agree.
because there is so much studies now coming out of the benefit of us doing things that we don't want to do. And running is a great positive way that has many other benefit side effects if you get into it, from health to stamina to focus. There's a lot of studies that comes out about, if you're studying or just
Yeah.
improving cognition even. There's a lot of great health benefits and long-term benefits to running, but there's also just in general, a benefit
And
to
remember, you don't have to run the whole race. I love my walk run methodology, and there's all different timings that you can do. So Jeff Galloway gives you choices. If you wanted to have this pace or that pace, this is what you would want to set it at. And I've got a little thing that it zaps me every time I need to be doing whatever I'm doing. I need to do the opposite, right? I don't have to think about it. It just tells me what to do, and that's been really great.
So check us out on our social media.
Oh,
We are on Facebook and Instagram, Bry and Samua Show. We also have a website, bryansamwashow.com. But once we start to post about this website or this episode and it goes live, I would love to have you guys comment and let us know if you've ever done any Disney races,
yeah,
what
yeah.
costumes you've worn, post pictures. We would
Love
love to
it.
see some of those ideas. If you're doing Dopey,
Let us know. We
send
would
us
love
a
to meet up.
message. Yes, we
Yes,
would love to be able to maybe we can meet up
it'll be
before
so
one of the
cool.
races or meet up at the
Absolutely.
expo. So
Hmm.
make sure you comment, message us, DM us. We don't have Snapchat, so you can't do
That's right.
that.
But we'll have all different types of ways that you can reach out, and that's really what we're hoping for, is that we can make this a two-way communication. And you're not just listening to us yammer about our love for Disney, but we're hearing about yours too. Or if you've thought about it or didn't even know about it, what information do you need to know?
So just make sure if you get inspired to do a Run Disney race, you want
Yep,
to go on to runDisney.com, see what races are coming up, pick which one you think you want to do, and then whatever the registration day is, which the main page for that specific race
you
should
got it.
let you know that. I'm not kidding. You do want to block off the like 2 hours
Morning.
around that. If you're at work, just say that you're in a meeting. If you work
Right.
remotely, that's when you want to block off your schedule. If
Yep.
you have kids, dial up a Disney movie right before race registration opens up. But make sure you do that because we would love to hear that you did your first Run Disney race.
And we signed up for the Dopey in March, didn't we? So the Dopey is in January. We signed up in March. So
9 months
you've
in
got to,
advance,
so as you start to look at the races, some of the registrations are closed. I think right now they're getting ready to open up Wine and Dine.
which is in November of next year.
Uh,
So go on now. If we inspired you,
yep.
if you're a Disney fanatic, if you want to do something that's hard but fun, get you out of the
Yeah.
comfort zone, hop on runDisney.com, see what races are coming up, and check out
Yeah.
when they would open up.
Do the 5 or a 10K. Start with that. That's what we did. We started off
Yeah.
small and we built from there.
I don't
And
know that a half was starting off small, but
well, but I think a 5 and a 10K, well, they didn't have the 10K then.
they didn't.
And we didn't feel like it was worth going to Florida for a 5K.
Just jump in the deep end.
Yeah,
Just
just
do
jump with
it. Do
us.
at least a half.
Jump with us. We'll grab you. We'll make sure you don't drown.
Well, we look forward to hearing from you. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we can't wait to see you again. Take care.